Now I have to
Okay.
Google. Now I'm going to interrupt this entire thing for Mikey likes it. Um,
He likes it. That kid is not dead. There was a rumor that he died from Pop Rocks.
Life Cereal.
Your live cereal. You've heard that rumor before, right?
Yes, yeah, that he did like Pop Rocks and Coke or something.
Yeah, the rumor was that he was the kid that ate Pop Rocks and then drank a Coke and it killed him. But that was not true. I don't know that he ever did any other major acting after that, but he did not die. It comes up in the film Urban Legend, if you're familiar with the post Scream teen slasher film craze of the late '90s, early aughts. It does come up in that film. He is not dead. Or he wasn't dead. That was like 20 years ago. He could be dead now, but I
Yeah,
haven't
a
looked it
lot
up.
could happen between Urban Legends 1 and now.
Yeah, I mean it has been like 20 years. I mean Tara Reid was still a bankable star during Urban Legend 1. Oh, take that Tara Reid.
Take that. If you, you know, come on the show and defend yourself, Tyra Reed. We'll talk about
Come on,
Sharknado.
come on, Tara Reid. I like the Sharknado movies.
I love the
When
Sharknado
they did the
movies.
vote for whether or not Tara Reid should live or die, I was like, I'm voting live. I want Tara Reid to keep getting work. Like,
I
don't.
I voted live just because you would have to be more ridiculous to do, you know what I mean? I'm like, if she lives, you got to pull out a weird Sharknado ridiculous move, and that's only beneficial.
That's a series I never finished. I
I
need to
didn't
finish.
I did not finish the last one. Because we used to actually have Sharknado parties where like a whole group
Oh
of
yeah.
like eight, that was like four couples. We would all get together and we'd make dinner and we would drink and then we'd get like popcorn and all that and we'd sit down and we would watch Asylum films, specifically normally the Sharknado films. Whenever a new Sharknado came out, we had a watch party for it.
Oh, fair.
And by time the last one came out, like everyone just had kids. We couldn't schedule. You know what I mean? It just didn't work
Got
anymore.
harder over time.
Got harder and harder
Yeah.
and harder. But we used to do
The
that for.
first Shark. Mhm.
Obviously, we used to do that for lots of movies like that. We did that with the entire Twilight series. Because there's a Twilight drinking game. There was a Sharknado drinking game. So we would find out all these drinking games and then do that.
The problem with the Sharknado movies, and this happened very quickly, the first one, although being a lame asylum, ridiculous horror action, whatever you want to call it, type movie, was not particularly self-aware. It knew it was a bad movie, but it wasn't trying to revel in the fact that it was a bad movie. But it
Yes.
became such a cultural moment that when they started to do the following ones, it became such a parody of itself, which is ridiculous because it was already such an odd thing that that sort of thing happens, it just becomes cameo after cameo after cameo. That's kind of what you see, and that's what you see in the Sharknado movies, and it just became these wall to wall cameos to make you go, "Oh, this guy's in the new Sharknado movie. How funny!" And it is. It does not hold up well. I mean, like, not that you would expect the Sharknado movies to hold up particularly well, but somehow they hold up worse than you would think that they would.
So what you need to do is, besides getting the drinking game, and you can't all do the same drinking game. You basically each take like two things from the drinking game because you have to survive. But
Hmm.
um, after Sharknado 3, after they go to the moon,
I
consider
forgot that game.
every movie after that to be an in-universe movie about the Sharknadoes.
Okay,
Like,
so
Sharknadoes
after the
occurred.
third,
This was a real
okay.
thing. These people are famous. Now they have sold their stories to Hollywood, and Hollywood has made big budget Sharknado movies for a universe where these things exist.
Okay, I can get behind that. So that's like if you were watching Scream 2, and in Scream 2, they're making the movie of Scream, and then you
Yes.
watch like one of the later sequels of the Scream in universe Scream movies. Stab, whatever it was.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Exactly.
meta.
It's very
That is
meta,
painfully meta. That's hard to follow.
but it makes the movie ridiculousness less in your face if you consider that it's supposed to be that way for an audience in the Sharknado universe.
Hmm.
Just
Okay.
one of my little tricks to get through that type of stuff. I mean, there's a big fan theory that the Deadpool movies are that. Uh,
The
that
Deadpool movies are like movies made in the X-Men universe.
yes, and that's why he turns and talks to the camera and breaks the fourth wall and stuff. Oh, and why the world is slightly different from the X-Men movies. So the whole thing is like the X-Men and all of them exist, and so Wade Wilson actually had a movie about him made in the X-Men universe, and that's why Deadpool is so over the top and campy.
Okay. I can get behind
And
that.
it's why
When you think
Colossus
about it,
is a different actor than in the original X-Men movies and all that stuff because they've recast him.
I get it. Huh. Well, I mean, all stories are fiction, right?
Yes,
All fiction is a story within some sort of story. That's how I think of it. It's like it doesn't matter. It's all just a story. You never have to worry about it. Don't never worry about continuity.
never
Never worry about all the
logic.
minute details. They're not worth it
Especially
if the story is good.
especially if it's an Asylum film.
No.
Especially if it's an Asylum film. My wife and I love bad shark movies. Like we especially pre-children, we would just like pick a Saturday, get like some really good cocktails, make up some food, and just watch an Asylum shark movie, or really any. But Asylum's, if we find out the Asylum's making a new shark movie, we get physically excited. And like our favorites are the blank-headed shark attack movies, like two-headed shark attack, six-headed
They
shark
got up to like
attack.
six, right? Yeah.
I think they got up to six. Um, Two-headed shark attack is the best, but six was actually really good. I think six-headed shark attack might be the second best. But they're just a lot of fun, and there is no in-universe logic. We quote two-headed shark attack so often because literally nothing in that movie makes sense. The other one we like to quote is what puts shark movie specifically perspective in with us is I believe it was snow sharks. It might have been
Oh yeah, they were
avalanche.
on like a mountain or something. So it was like skiing, but there were sharks.
Yeah, and the movie's tagline was "Snow is just frozen water. The science is sound." That was
Okay.
the movie's tagline, and that's basically what we just constantly say to each other whenever we're watching a bad shark movie. We're like, the science is sound.
Yeah, I think after Sharknado was well, I mean they were doing a lot of shark movies before then, but I think after Sharknado was such a hit, they were trying to do whatever they could to get their next Sharknado. Because I know they had like Lava Lantula, where it was lava tarantulas with I think Steve Guttenberg,
Mm-hmm.
and they do a short crossover in one of the other Sharknado movies. So it was like, okay, they're trying to get us on board with another one of their ridiculous Animal Plus disaster. I think they really lost me at Ghost Shark, where it was like the ghost of a shark,
Yeah, that's not an
and it could go
asylum.
anywhere. That was an asylum.
That was not
Oh my god.
asylum. But
You
yeah,
are the world's biggest Asylum shark movie fan if you know the level of detail of Asylum shark movies that you're being able to give me right now.
I mean, I've watched all but one of them so far, I believe.
Which one? Which one are you holding off on?
Empire of the Sharks, it's the sequel to oh my god, Land of the Sharks. Now that you've said that, you're putting me on the spot. Empire of the Sharks, I believe.
You have a Wikipedia-esque knowledge of shark movies, of
I,
bad shark movies.
I'm not lying when I say we really, really love Asylum shark movies.
Now, here's another question. Do you like Jaws?
Oh yeah, I love Jaws.
Okay.
I love all the Jaws. I love Jaws Part 3. I mean, it's ridiculous and campy, and it is hilarious and amazing, and I love it. And I even like Part 4. Planet of the Sharks. Planet of the Sharks is the other one in that series. I believe, yeah, I've watched Planet of the Sharks. I have not watched Empire of the Sharks.
What are you waiting for?
We had a baby,
All
and
right, good
my
point.
wife doesn't like to watch that stuff around him.
And he's still all awake at any given hour.
Yeah, and it's just we haven't really had the energy, or we want to get in the mood. We're saving it for when we can actually have a drink and not have to worry about him, and just it'll be there. Empire of the Sharks isn't going anywhere.
That's true. They'll always be available.
Yeah. So, you know, I do literally go on Wikipedia and IMDb and stuff to check up on the Asylum to see if they have any new shark movies coming out. Cuz I don't have cable or anything, so I don't get like Sci-Fi Channel commercials. I've just got to
You have
stalk
to keep.
I've just
You
got to
have to
keep
have your
checking in.
finger on the pulse.
Yeah, I have to be like, what's going on this year? Okay, Megaboa, Jungle Run, the Bermuda Triangle. Nope, no shark movies this year. There is Aquarium of the Dead though, so
The
you know.
zombie fish.
Yeah, so that's actually a sequel to a other franchise of the Asylum that we like called Zombies.
I
Uh,
did see zombies.
Zombies honestly has one of the worst scenes. Actually got under my skin and bothered me. My wife too. We were like zombies. We did not expect to have that skin crawling horror movie effect on us, but here we are. Um, so yeah, I have not watched Zombies 2, but after that is Aquarium of the Dead, which is a sequel to Zombies and Zombies 2. But that does have some zombie sharks. So, I got to queue up for that one too.
All right, we should get back to
We've
the.
digressed pretty
We
hard.
that was pretty hard. No, I love bad shark movies, so it makes perfect sense. Free with
So,
the creature from the cafeteria.
but
You
we'll
said
never.
that this author has a series of books that are like subtitle of the Black Lagoon,
Yeah.
and this one is not in that series.
No. I think this might predate the Black Lagoon books.
Here's another question: are you allowed to do that? Isn't that owned by Universal? Like, I feel like somebody owns the of the Black Lagoon title because it
I
very
mean,
clearly refers to the creature from the Black Lagoon.
maybe the Black Lagoon's a real place?
But okay, but I mean, like, think of the old Universal monsters. Most of them, Frankenstein, Dracula, they're based on existing public domain
Hmm.
creatures.
I mean, this
The
was in the
creature from the Black
80s. Creature
Lagoon.
from the Black Lagoon might have been 50 years later. It might have been in the public domain.
I don't think that it is. I don't think that even to this day that it is because of copyright laws being so
I mean, he's got a
very
Catzilla book.
strict.
That's got to be I guess, parody law?
No, that's parody. Oh wait, he wrote Catzilla.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Catzilla.
You're aware
And
of
what
Catzilla?
was that? It's a picture book where it's like a basically it's a cat who's attacking a town, right?
I have no
Because there
idea.
was
I'm just
there's
reading.
a hold on. I'm gonna look to see if it's the same Catzilla I'm thinking of. Because if it is, I am very familiar with Catzilla. It was one of my favorites as a kid.
So yeah, he's been writing since the 60s. It looks like the Black Lagoon book didn't even start until the 90s.
Hold on. There's a lot of Catzilla T-shirts. Oh no, I'm thinking of Dogzilla and Cat Kong. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of something else. There are a lot of these. Okay, moving on. I apologize.
Yeah, I don't
Catzilla.
know how he gets away with it, but he's got a dozen Black Lagoon books at least. The Dentist, School Secretary, Vice Principal, Little League Team, Computer Teacher, Valentine's Day, Christmas Party, April Fool's Day, Snow Day from the Black Lagoon, everything from the Black
That
Lagoon.
doesn't make any sense.
I don't know, man. Spring Dance from the Black Lagoon.
That is ludicrous. That makes no sense.
All
How
her
does a dance come from the Black Lagoon? I'm so angry at these.
St. Patrick's Day from the Black Lagoon. School
Oh,
play
come
from the
on.
Black.
That's ludicrous. No, that is such a no, that okay. They
100th
came
day
up
of school from the Black Lagoon.
no. I disagree with the existence of that book. I want to read them because they're probably fine. You
Fr-
know, any like long running children's series, they're gonna do different. Like, they're gonna try and sell to you again. Like, one of my one of my mom's ones that she loves that she hands out to all of her grandkids, her many grandkids at this point, is the Llama Llama book, Llama Llama Red Pajama. You
yeah,
familiar with Llama
Ludacris.
Llama Red Pajama?
Ludacris does that. You can look it up on YouTube. He does a reading of it. It's really fun.
Rapper Ludacris does Llama Llama.
Yeah, I believe it was Ludacris.
Oh my god, I'm gonna look that up so hard after this call. But they did a whole bunch of like, there's a Llama Llama Easter book. I think there's a Llama Llama Halloween. So yeah, after, I don't know if it was while the author was still alive. She passed away very young. They started putting out all sorts of Llama Llama books. Another one of my favorites is Don't Push the Button. And they put out a bunch of like holiday editions of Don't Push the Button, which is all basically the same gimmick. But for every possible holiday to get you to buy the book over and over again. Oh my god, Ludicrous Llama Llama Red Pajama. Steve, that is wild.
Yeah,
I can't wait to finish that.
I
I'm
it
so
has
excited about
ruined
this.
Llama Llama Red Pajama for me in that I can only hear it in Ludacris's voice now and his cadence. Like there is no more there's no other interpretation of this.
Why would you need one? He's so good. Man, I've been a fan of Ludacris since Def Jam Vendetta
Yes.
on on the PlayStation 2. How good was Def Jam Vendetta?
I
The game
love
was
the
so
death.
good.
Those games were so good.
Oh my god. We played so much of it. We had one friend who could beat DMX. Eric. Eric was the only person who could beat DMX. The rest of us just like had to hand him the controller so we could get past DMX.
I think me and
It
John
was
beat
so
it in
hard.
college.
Yeah.
We played it a lot because it had Henry Rollins. It because he was like your
Was it the?
trainer.
Oh, that's right. Was he? Was that the first one or the second one? I know there were two.
I think that
The
was
first one was better
maybe
than the second
the
one.
first one.
Henry
Flava
Rollins.
Flav
That
was
makes
in
sense.
it.
I'm gonna dig out my PlayStation 2 and play some Def Jam Vendetta because those games were amazing.
Yeah, I put together an emulator system over COVID, and it was only power. It can run every system up to but not including PS2, and I was so devastated because I was like, I'm gonna have a portable Def Jam that I can just bring with me all the time, and that's not true.
Um, I'm sure there's a way you can get Def Jam on some portable device that you already own.
I
There has
mean,
to be a way to get it on your phone.
I have that portable arcade that I could probably load it up on, and then we could actually put it on a big screen and actually have the arcade with the buttons and stuff.
Nice.
I could make it happen. I just wanted like a handheld version of it.
Okay. All right. I'll check out Llama Llama Red Pajama Ludicrous style very
It's worth
soon.
it.
Like I said, as soon as I hang up from this call, that is the first thing I'm gonna do. Can't wait to show my wife because I think we're all gonna get a big kick out of it. I love the Fast and the Furious movies. Um, I'm two behind right now.
I have only seen the first Fast and the Furious movie.
So you don't even know.
I saw it in theaters and really enjoyed it. And
20 years ago.
well, yeah, because I was like 16 years old. And I just never. I didn't watch the second one because Vin Diesel wasn't in it. And
That's true. They kind of took a little while to figure out what they wanted to do with those
yeah,
movies.
he doesn't come back
It
till
took
part four, right?
No, he shows up as a cameo in part three. So he shows up as a cameo in
Yeah, in like
Tokyo Drift.
the post credits, right?
Yeah. No, it wasn't a post credit. It was right before the credits. It was like the last scene of the movie. He shows up for. maybe 3 lines. He's barely in the movie, but it's just enough to tie it back to the first movie.
Hmm.
Because the first movie, it's Vin Diesel, Paul Walker. The second movie, it's just Paul Walker. It's Paul Walker, Tyrese. Then the third movie, it's a completely different character in Tokyo who meets up with Han. I forget the name of the actor of Han. And then
Who's
Han dies.
suddenly alive again?
Yeah, so the character dies in the third movie. Then basically everything like the third, fourth, oh, what was it? He dies in the third movie and then is a character in the fourth, fifth, sixth, maybe even seventh movie. So they kind of like shoehorn them in as prequels to the third movie. Then he finally dies again. Then yeah, I think in the latest movie, which is I haven't seen, I didn't see nine, and I haven't seen, wait, I haven't seen eight, and I haven't seen nine. Nine is the one that's in theaters now. I think he shows back up alive in nine, which is the second time they've killed a character for them to show back up a couple of movies later. I've
Yeah.
watched almost all of these.
My goal is to get my wife to watch the first one, get into it, and then we're just gonna watch them all. I'm just gonna be like, you just have to angry through part two and three. But I'm like, do we watch them in release order or do we watch them in chronological order?
I mean, I would say watch them in release order. It's one of the things about trying to watch things in chronological order is you weren't they weren't released that way. They weren't intended to be watched that way.
I mean,
So I
yeah,
think that it probably makes more sense narratively to watch them in the order in which they were released because if you watch them in the order that they take place in, I think the narrative will probably get pretty jumbled and actually make less sense.
that's
I
fair.
don't know. I
Just
haven't
take the
tried it. I
ride.
haven't tried it.
Just take the ride.
Yeah, I think they're right because I mean they amp up in such a way because you watch the first Fast and the Furious movie and it really is just like it's a pretty small story about a Fed. I think Paul Walker's their cop or a Fed trying to break up like a small time kind of electronics thieving ring. I think they were stealing VCR TV combos.
Uh-huh.
If you want to get a sense of how old these movies are. And if you watch them in order, you'll see them kind of naturally amp up to the sort of Mission Impossible style movies they are now. I think if you watch them out of order, it's not going to make a lot of sense.
Yeah. You
It
know, I
really does take to the fourth movie before they get kind of the formula down of what they were going to do with the rest of the series. So I would say, I mean, definitely watch them all. They're ridiculous popcorn trash. They're amazing.
I just looked up the Def Jam games again, and part one is so much better than part two just on like your crew options.
Part two was not nearly as good as part one. I think I played part two once or twice.
Part one
But part one I played for years on
has
end.
Flavor Flav, Henry Rollins, Ludacris. You got like Method Man and all them, but you get Busta Rhymes. You have Ice T, Omar Epps, like from House. Prodigy's
Oh
here.
yeah, I forget that there was a time where he was not famous because he was on House.
Yes, he was a rapper. Like you have like so many Snoop Dogg's in here. Prodigy, the rapper, not to be confused with Prodigy, the band,
No,
which,
that wouldn't make any sort of sense.
well,
That
my
would actually be
wife
really cool.
knows so much about Prodigy, the rapper, because she found this podcast that she thought it was like a This American Life type of a thing. It was like a deep dive, and she thought it was going to be into the band, The Prodigy, and so she listened to it, and it was about the rapper, The Prodigy, but it ended up being like so fascinating that she listened to like the entire series, so she knows a lot about Prodigy.
This is going to be a short episode and a really long Dad's Digress.
It's going to make up for that week that we didn't have a Dad's Digress.
That's okay. Everybody needs a break once in a while.
Honestly, that week hasn't physically happened yet. I could break this up and no one would know. No one would know where this came from. This is timeless. Oh my god, this game has Carmen Electra featured in it. That's how old this game is.
What is she doing now? she's probably doing like nothing. What happened to Carmen Electra?
I feel like I
She,
just saw something with her, and I was like, "You're still around?" But
man, Hollywood really does use female, like, really uses actresses until they're tired of them and then toss them aside.
yeah,
I feel like actors have such more longevity. It's like, I mean, like, good for Jordana Brewster, let's say, for being in the Fast and the Furious movies. You know, she caught on to that franchise 20 years ago when she was kind of a name,
oh yeah,
and then like that's all I mean, like, those are the only things she's in now, but those movies do $1 billion a piece. So even though she's kind of stopped being any kind of a name outside of those movies, she'll always have those movies to do.
absolutely.
Michelle
Because
Rodriguez holds on. Michelle Rodriguez has work outside those movies, but Jordana Brewster you don't see in anything.
yeah, like Jordana Brewster would have otherwise been like a girl that was in about a season of the show Chuck and was in the movie Debs. If like I didn't know if there wasn't Fast and the Furious movies, those would really be the only two things I knew her from.
Yeah, so that's got to be the key to continue acting in Hollywood. Well, first off, I think Harvey Weinstein being in jail is probably a big help to women in Hollywood
Yeah.
overall. Um, but like, get in, get into those franchise movies and just keep working.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, and I always see articles where it's like so and so says they would play this character for the next 40 years. I'm like, yeah, it guarantees them
Yeah,
work and
guaranteed
food.
work.
You
Like,
maniacs.
because they don't want to go do like commercials.
Yeah,
No, they want to keep doing movies and getting like good money and like paying for nice houses.
we should get to your book. We've been on this for
We
a
should get to
while.
my book. Yes, we have. That was a big digression. Okay.